My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast.
And this week we are talking about Diablo II, which is an action RPG developed by Blizzard North and published by Blizzard Entertainment for the PC in 2000.
Yeah, and a couple special things. One, this is our premium episode for the month, which means everybody's getting generalities, and patrons are getting the entire play-by-play. And this episode was executive produced by Adam, who dedicates it to his best friend, Anna.
That is very sweet. Thank you, Anna.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're happy. No one's ever asked that before. We had somebody do an episode for as a birthday gift, but they it was just as a gift, and the person was on it. I think it was the Final Fantasy X.
Final Fantasy, yeah,
episode.
It was those episodes, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, we're happy to do something like that.
Yeah. Nothing especially timely, I would say. Don't want to run into the birthday or anniversary problem.
Yes. Yeah.
General well wishes. Also, special thing number 3, come watch Duckstream. The weekend of December the 6th through the 8th. That is our annual streaming marathon to benefit the Transactive Gender Project out of the Lewis and Clark College in Portland, Oregon. There we go. They provide education resources for trans youth and their families and their communities. It's a good cause.
Yeah, good cause. Fun event. It's important. It'll also be fun.
Yep.
And also, I think both of us are pretty cool on this experience. I have complicated feelings.
Not on Duckstream, on Diablo 2?
Yes. The subject of the episode.
Yes.
And none of that is, standard disclaimer. I don't think anybody's got bad taste if they love this shit. There's a time which I ate this up.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I played and beat this game like 2 times back in like the early 2000s, right? It was kind of everywhere. It was in the water. Just it hinges on one particular core kind of loop and appeal that I just don't have there's no place for it in me.
On top of being one of those games where it's actually like 2 games.
Yes.
That tend to present a challenge in the show where it's like there's the game, but then there's the game after you play it, for many, many hours and start ascending and doing all that stuff. You run into a little bit of the City of Heroes issue with that. And it makes sense given that this codified a lot of kind of Blizzard loop-based MMO adjacent things like epic equipment and finding rare drops and stuff.
Yeah.
So it makes kind of, there's some DNA there that is shared with MMOs that make this feel like once you get to the real game, that's when you're in the real game. And I didn't do the real game when I was younger.
No.
And I didn't do it this time. Whatever the real game part of this is, it's not appealing to me. So like when we talk about this, we're going to make claims. I just want to set everyone up with the expectation that we are talking about just playing the game.
Yes. Yeah.
It is of limited use to be like, well, once you've played it for 20 hours on the highest difficulty, that no longer becomes an issue.
Yeah.
I believe you. I believe that's true. It's just outside of the remit of this.
Yeah. Several times when I was making the notes, I had to resist the urge to put in the majority of people play this for X. And I thought, No, the majority of people you hear from play it for X. I imagine that there's a very sizable chunk of people whose experience with this game started and stopped with playing it at normal, having experienced a pretty big portion of game, and then moved on to other stuff.
Yeah, like a video game.
Yeah.
The idea that something has to be a forever game, or forever, not necessarily forever, but like a very long-term game to provide its value is something that I wrestle with as a game design decision a lot, whether I think that is like excusable.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like a big word, but just like if that's your game, that's weird to me. That you have to get there, and we'll go through all of it.
Yes.
I'm just kind of getting some of these disclaimers out of the way because this is a really well-loved game, and I don't want to play it again.
Yeah, even if I'm done with it, like I'm never going to say it's not important or anything like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. So we're talking about the remaster, the 2021 remaster, Diablo II Resurrected. This modernizes presentation, and most importantly, provides some quality of life stuff.
Yeah.
Not all the quality of life stuff they could have. They don't sand off all the edges, but it is a little bit of it easier going down.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also just more accessible. Like if you go to the battle.net storefront, like this is the one that you get.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to say, like, seek out the battle chest, find a computer with a CD drive and then install it and hope it runs,
Like you can, but
Yeah. In this game, you're playing as a hero, seeking to stop the demon Diablo and his brothers, who are attempting to conquer the earth and hand it over to the legions of hell. Diablo, who is currently possessing one of the possible protagonists from Diablo 1, who got possessed after the events of the first game.
Big twist at the end of Diablo 1.
Yeah.
Diablo 2 plays from an overhead isometric perspective. You control your character through mouse clicks. There is controller support on modern versions, but this game is meant to be played on a mouse. Clicking to move into enemies to attack them, or selecting spells and abilities to attack at a distance. There are also weapons that attack at a distance as well.
Yeah. And this is a really clicky kind of game. You don't have to click for every individual attack. But
like Diablo 1.
Yeah. Ridiculous. But you are going to be fighting through hordes of enemies as you're going up against them in real time here. Here's my confession. I have never found these games, the Diablo series, 1, 2, or 3, which is the ones I've played, parts of 1 and 3, and then all of this one. I've never found it to feel especially good in my hands.
It's not really about that.
Yeah.
It feels like sometimes there's some joy in some of the animation, specifically on the monsters. Dying and everything like that, but it's not a series about game feel again in those first 3.
Yeah.
It's possible number 4 does more with this. My understanding is it does. But yeah, even number 3, which has a better game feel to it, is still pretty non-kinesthetic. I don't feel embodied by my character at all.
Yeah.
I don't feel the impact of things.
No. And I feel like there's kind of a lack of precision. I almost feel like there is a layer of plastic, like plexiglass between me and and what is going on. With just kind of moving stuff around. It's kind of like, I'll click on that guy and my guy will kind of like walk in circles, around him and maybe attack. And then, I just don't feel like I am especially have much of a grasp on what's happening.
Yeah, it's interesting too how that intersects with action versus turn-based. Like if I'm looking over a battlefield and moving little action figures around, in isometric, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily looking to feel embodied or feel the kinesthetics of it. Whereas this, I kind of am. I will say that is lessened if you're playing on controller. Playing Diablo 3 on my Switch, it is better in terms of feel. It feels a little bit less abstract.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. I haven't previewed these notes, so I'm going to jump around a little bit.
That's fine.
You have to forgive me if you have a point covered later. I want to talk about the random level layouts.
Yeah,
of this. We talked about that. This borrows a lot from Rogue. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more. Randomly generated levels accomplish a purpose.
Yes.
Or can accomplish a purpose. The idea behind this is to stop something from becoming rote. The best thing this can do is make it so you can't mainline to something, especially in something designed for repetition, right? Part of what's interesting about Diablo compared to other games that take rogue influence that I love that have random levels is that, one, I'm not looking to play this over and over again, so that random generation doesn't actually do anything for me. And then the other thing is that like any given room you're in plays very similarly, kind of no matter how it's shaped.
That's the thing, is that you have randomization to increase variety, but the nature of what's going on inside these spaces is kind of almost exactly the same if you're playing it on the level that we're playing it.
Yes. It's here's 15 undeads of the appropriate level. Here's 15 ogres.
Yes.
Just kind of plopped. Sometimes there are mix-ups. Sometimes they're like support units, but generally it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
That the individual dungeons are randomly generated, except make them feel weird. And to me, like to make places that should have a sense of space not have one. I'm not expecting caverns to have orderly layouts, but I think dungeons and tombs should make sense. And you go into a tomb in this and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like you have to walk, through a bunch of really long empty hallways before you get to where people could visit a tomb. Like, well, that's not how they design stuff.
Yeah.
It just ends up making it feel like it doesn't matter. It's a weird thing. I feel like it's an unsuccessful random level.
It's kind of like
thing.
It's kind of like buying books by the foot. Right.
Yeah.
I want to have an impressive looking study. And so I need, this many square inches of books to put on these shelves that are up here. What you have is, kind of the node and spoke layout of the broad world is roughly the same. This dungeon will always be within this land and connected to this other land. But everything inside of it just feels like, all right, we need you to cover roughly this much amount of distance in order to get the plot coupon that gets you into the next thing. It just kind of feels like I have somebody standing in the room with me with a stopwatch. And I've got to just like do a random activity until they hit the button. And it's like, all right, new lap. Change to something
you've done
else.
enough.
Yeah,
you've done enough fighting these guys in this tomb. Now it's time to go fight these guys in this forest.
Yes,
or, this outdoor area. That part's randomized on the macro level. The specific plot and biomes you're in are not randomized.
Right.
Your abilities and equipment that you have are half randomized, half determined. Abilities and equipment possibilities are determined by the class that you choose.
Yes.
This version we played includes those added in the expansion. And that means there are a total of 6. You get Amazon, Assassin, Barbarian, Druid, Necromancer, Paladin, and Sorceress.
Yes. And these are characters. Like these are individuals. It's almost like picking a Street Fighter character.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have 3 different skill trees each. And this is where you unlock and improve abilities with points that you earn through leveling up. And this lets you specialize your character into a build.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. You get 1 respec after you beat the first act. At least as far as I know. I don't know if there's a way to unlock other ones. So you're pretty much committed as you are putting these points in. We can't talk about all the classes because that's a lot. And then with the 3, it's 18 skill trees, right?
Yes.
And even within a skill tree, you can pick you can pick one lane or the other. And each of the classes is pretty much what it sounds like, right? The only one that's confusing is Amazon, which is it's a archer, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about our characters.
Yeah. Speaking of, I played an Amazon. I started as a Necromancer because I was like, I'm not going to not play a Necromancer, but it was a little bland. I wanted something a little bit more active. So I did Amazon. I did a bow build for my Amazon, primarily specializing in crits, piercing, and then the homing arrow that you can get. Is basically what I was working on when I hit the number of levels you get in one playthrough of this. It's worth noting when we talk about committing to a build and everything, a lot of these builds you are not going to fully develop until multiple playthroughs of the game.
Right.
Doing one playthrough of the game is enough to get you on your way. Yeah.
Yes. I played as the assassin, a class that was added in the expansion. I also started as a necromancer thinking, oh, it'll be fun. I'll have a little skeleton army. But then I remembered, oh, yeah, you can't really control what the skeletons do. You just have to summon enough creatures and they will randomly walk around and attack stuff. Yeah.
You hang around with skeletons.
Yes.
The necromancer does not give the sense that he controls skeletons so much as they don't attack him.
Yeah.
And you just hang around with them.
You enable skeleton things to happen.
Yes. Which, again, cool.
Yeah.
But just not super fun in an action context.
Yeah.
They also start out weak. Which makes fighting take a lot longer.
Yes.
One of the things when I switched to the Amazon is that fights were over quicker. Because fights were all the same, I wanted them to be over quicker, generally.
Yeah. So the assassin, this is like a martial artist, like up close, very fast attacks. The primary weapon that you get is it's like claw weapons, little katars and stuff like that. And there are 3 specialties. You have martial arts, shadow disciplines, and traps. Martial arts, like the thing that is special about that is it and the druid abilities, you get charge kind of stuff. So you kind of sub out your main attack for a special attack that will build up charges. Like these are little motes over your head. And then you can cash in those charges to do finisher attacks. The problem is most things die so quickly that finisher attacks are not necessary, again, on normal. What I really leaned into were traps and shadow disciplines. Traps are basically just spells. You lay down little turrets that will shoot out elemental charges around you. I specialize like in the lightning ones. But also there are like blade traps and flame traps that you can do. And like by trap, like fire blast is just, you just throw a fireball. And then shadow disciplines are like ninjutsu magic. So like there's a valuable one there, like burst of speed, that you pretty much always want to have on. And then there's also something in there that is its own summon, the shadow warrior discipline here, where you get increasing levels of clones of yourself. It's kind of like having a mimic tier, which is pretty good to fight alongside.
There are a bunch of overlap in the classes. So like the necromancer, or one necromancer build and one druid build, are both summon builds. But, the Amazon also has a summon. Eventually you can summon a Valkyrie. You had one summon in there. Like there's bleed over in these things. They're not entirely demarcated for that.
Yeah.
The way you improve your character, other than leveling up, as we mentioned, there are also stats that you level up as well. Primarily, these determine your health and mount on stuff, but then they're mostly used for equipment requirements. Not entirely, but mostly.
Yeah.
The main way you improve your character is through equipment. And the equipment loop in this game is one of its primary features and innovations, I suppose. You loot enemies, bosses, chests, containers, things you find around. And equipment is randomly generated. There are parameters that are specified by each piece's rarity class that it has. And it is randomly dropped. This is one of the genesises of the, Diablo loot explosion.
Yeah.
Killing a boss and having them explode into like 4 bad swords and maybe 1 okay helmet.
Yeah. Every enemy you kill is like opening up a booster pack.
Yes.
is what this is. Most of the time it's some gold and it's a potion, but like, elite enemies or especially act bosses or dungeon bosses, those are the ones that drop just gear. And then kind of the gambling aspect of this is, sifting through it and seeing, comparing it to what you already have equipped and saying like, okay, can I equip this? Is it better than what I have? Does this work with my build, etc.? And then going back and, selling that for gold and then going out and doing it again. Pretty much every action is a pull on a lever of a slot machine.
Yes. And it's a thing where that is the game. To improve your build, what you are doing is you're seeking out higher level enemies, elites and bosses. You are not, the game very quickly teaches you, you don't pick up things that aren't good. They're going to be here. They explode. you know, but they're not worth considering.
Yeah.
As a thing. You need to go and find and sometimes grind, like fight over and over, elites and bosses for a higher level slot, you know, pull the slot machine.
Yeah.
Until you get something good. You talk about comparing equipment. You spend a lot of time in this game doing that.
Yep.
I don't like how this game does equipment. It's a lot of, you know, the plus 3% frost damage stuff. It's all, you know, and the reason why I bring it up is because I'm not trying to make a qualitative comparison on these things. I'm trying to make a comparison in terms of what I like in similar systems.
Yes.
And I compare this to other games that take rogue elements. One of the differences, at least at the level I played this, is that nothing I found changed my verbs very much at all.
Right.
I could find a better bow. This one does poison over time, as opposed to this one that does extra lightning damage, or this one that drains a little bit of mana. I was still just shooting.
Yep.
You know, kind of no matter what. Compared with something like an Isaac.
Yeah.
You know, where like, oh, I have this. It's changed my verb set completely. I engage with the rest of the game in a very different way.
Yeah.
I never had that feeling. So I'm just comparing numbers. Like generally, like whichever one has the highest number is what I want.
Yeah. Elemental affinities matter, but not very much on normal. Eventually, as you start going up to nightmare and hell or whatever the difficulty is, the enemies start getting elemental resistances and then elemental immunities. But that is not something that is kind of like core to the system. That is a it is a a limitation that they are imposing in order to make the system a little bit more meaningful.
And the way that you circumvent that, again, on normal, but I imagine it's similar on later levels, is you have like a utility key. You know, I'm specializing in fire damage. You know, when I think about the Amazon, I could shoot my normal, you know, arrows, do physical damage, but there's like a fire arrow skill. So like, as I level up, I diversify a little bit. If somebody's immune to normal damage or resistance, I'd switch to that.
Yes.
That's kind of the be all end all of that strategy part, though. You know, so it gives you those elemental weaknesses to encourage you to diversify. But then once you did, this reminded me so much of City of Heroes.
Yeah.
This has so much turn yourself into an algorithm thing. It's faster than that. Like it's a little bit more engaging physically. You know, and kind of, but what I was doing was a very simple order of operations.
Yeah.
Most times. Then this is, you know, there are equipment pieces that are like named equipment that synergize with each other that do more different things.
Yeah, they're in sets and stuff. Yeah.
The sets are the highest level. It is normal to go through your whole playthrough without finding anything from a set.
Yeah.
They're that rare. Again, underlying that you're meant to play this over and over for that many pulls of the slot machine to get that perfected build.
Yes. Yeah. One thing that makes a particular piece of equipment really good is if it has sockets on it. These are like little places where materia can be put. You can affix gems, and then the expansion added these runes that can be put in to add new properties. Right. So like, does this drain health when you attack? Well, yeah, you can put a skull in to make it drain health when you attack. Different gems will give different elemental kind of damages. And some elements confer status effects. So there's like poison. I got a lot of use out of ice. Ice like slows enemies down quite a bit. It was very annoying when it happened to me, and it in turn helps with crowd control if you use it yourself. Right.
It's one of the many like levers, you know, like possible things to be tweaked in this, like will freeze or lowers the amount of time you are frozen. Yes. Like these kind of properties there. The socketed items are kind of like make your own magic item is how I read them. You know, I could find this thing that did all these things, or I could just make my own.
Yeah.
You know, if I got the gems. So there are shops in each hub. These inventories will regularly turn over. Most of what you're going to use, you find. Every once in a while, you do find something that is like a clear upgrade and it's worth buying.
Yeah,
you know. But what I ended up in the end game spending most of my money on is gambling. Literal gambling. There's an NPC in each zone who you get to buy an item without knowing its properties. And you're hoping to get a good deal.
Yeah.
This actually rolled above its price class.
Yeah. So like this is a breastplate that is more expensive than if I just bought a standard breastplate from the store, but there's a chance that this could be fucking legendary.
Yes.
A lot of the time, again, because this gambling is nothing without losing. A lot of the time you buy it and then sell it back for way less than it's worth. But you get so much money in this game that it's not actually something you feel that bitter about.
It's like a little bit like a casino where chips are free.
Yeah.
In that respect, or you just get chips for being there.
Yeah.
This is part of the kind of gambling angle of this game. Pulling a slot machine is a lot of parts of it. And I think, and not sincerely non-derogatory, we just did the Bellator episode, which, doing the drafting in that also has gambling appeal.
Yes. Yeah.
You're doing a luck of what comes up. So when I say I don't have the gambling gene, that's not quite true. I do. I like starting an Isaac or a Bellator run and seeing what happens. I don't have it in this game and trying to differentiate what the difference is.
I have gambling for big jackpots. But if I'm just gaining and losing pennies on the margin, then I start then
a number.
Yeah. The actual act of having a number go up and go down at random doesn't give me the stimulus. Right?
Yeah. And also in real life, I hate gambling. I don't like it. Again, it's not moral. I don't like the morality of it either. But that isn't a moral stance. I just don't like the activities that come with gambling very much. That's another difference, is that I don't like the activity that I'm doing in this game that much.
Yeah. Poker is fun because it's a social game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But
and for me, Isaac is fun because it's fun to move around in my hands.
Yes.
Whereas the loop of this lost its appeal.
Yeah. So I want to double and triple underline, us calling this gambling does not mean that we are saying people who like this have some kind of deficiency or weakness to this.
Exactly.
I'm weak to other stuff instead. It's just the word that we are putting on to what is basically Skinner box kind of stuff.
Yes.
What is, just unlimited chances to get marginal upgrades with, stimulus that is designed to give you a little dopamine hit to keep
provide
back.
gamer treat.
Yes.
I got to give the Noah Gervais on video on this thing, and he's a lot warmer on it than I am. If you want to hear somebody who I respect making an argument very strongly for this game, you can listen to that. He considers that that's cool to him, that it is a perfect machine for those dopamine things.
Yeah.
And talks about how the drop sound effects of gold and amulets and stuff just kind of creates this Pavlovian loop.
Yeah.
I'm very resistant to knowing about the treat machine. I want the treat machine to be abstracted.
Yeah.
And in some ways I feel like making it less abstracted and being a little bit more naked with that was Diablo 2's innovation. And then further, World of Warcraft's innovation. When, people talk about doing, splitting up rare drops and grinding for rare drops in that.
Yeah.
It's a Blizzard value.
It is. And, the thing that you can say, all of this ultimately amounts to very little for us in a criticism of Diablo 2. If you are trying to read any moral valence into what we're saying, because Diablo 2, all you have to lose is your time. Right?
Yes. Yeah. It's not wrong to be into Diablo 2.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's just trying to wrestle with why this didn't work for me, despite the fact that it has beautiful little skeletons.
Yeah. The Gothic theming and stuff, sign me up. But it's just, I don't have the, I don't have the receptors for this particular neurotransmitter. Right.
Let's talk about the loop.
Yes.
This game is all about the loop. You go out. You kill enemies until your inventory is filled up. You want to eventually become more discerning with your inventory.
Yes.
But until it's as full as until it's appropriate, you can move things around. There's a little bit of inventory Tetris. And then you use a scroll of town portal, warp back to the hub, sell and bank what you don't need, replenish your supplies, and go back and do it again.
Yep.
That's the game. And it's, when we talk about, quality of life things. What's interesting is this specific ARPG subgenre has had descendants that do a lot more quality of life stuff with this.
Yeah, the pets and Torchlight. Yeah,
exactly. Being able to do that with a button click rather than actually go and walk through it. It's hard for me to tell. I liked Torchlight when I played it. I don't know if I think that's necessarily better or if it's just one of those things where I like that just saving you time.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I'm still doing basically the same thing though, which is like picking up stuff off the ground and doing like the first day of Animal Crossing.
Yes.
Of just selling things I find on the ground for eternity.
Yeah. Yeah. Like what I would want is for returns to the hub to be a little bit more meaningful. You get a little bit of that, right? Like in the process of returning to the hub, like this is when NPCs will give you quests. Like they'll have a little exclamation mark above their head, to let you know where to go do stuff. There is dialogue you can have with these individual characters.
A lot of dialogue.
A lot of dialogue. Opinions are going to differ on how worthwhile any of the writing in this game is. I don't. My answer is not very, but it's there for you. It's just that all of that burns off very quickly, and then you are just left with the pick up and sell and pick up and sell and pick up and sell.
It's also a thing where even having new quest or having new context for what you're doing, you're still doing the loop. Mm-hmm. So like going back to town and having somebody have a new bit of insight for me that tells me to go somewhere else and do the loop,
mm-hmm.
I'm still doing the loop.
Yeah.
Like what I'm going to do will never change.
Yes.
In this. There are offensive items you can use. You can equip them, you can throw them consumables. But most of the stuff you're going to pick up that isn't gold or gear are going to be potions.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 orbs at the bottom of your screen, a red orb and a blue orb. Red is health, blue is mana.
Keep them full.
And that's you're juggling.
I would just tell you like, oh yeah, I'm going to go babysit the orbs later.
Yeah, the orbs are in town. I'm going to go put them in front of a movie and then like kind of zone out. I click this button to fill up red and I click this button to fill up blue.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when you have to think about it more strategically than that.
Yes. Yeah.
Bosses in this can do a lot of damage very quickly and require a degree of positioning.
Yes.
In my experience, if it was not a boss or outside of a couple like big elites or kind of tough mobs, my character I could go on complete autopilot and just babysit the orbs.
Yes.
Just drink potions when I'm low, try to keep my character away from things so I can shoot them. And then that was really it. And it didn't matter whether it was 15 little orc things or whether it was like 15 shambling elementals. I behaved the same way.
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah.
With a little bit of like, oh, this ranged guy is going to try to pick me off. I'll take him out first. Oh, this shaman will raise goblins. I'll take him out first.
Yeah. It's, you just do what you designed your character to do.
Yes. You do the verb.
Yes. The healing gets, a little bit complicated by like the way that health is deducted from you. Like there's almost like a little like regain system that happens here. Like damage will be done to you and then it will drain down kind of like slowly off of that. And your health, like the standard health potions and mana potions, it's quick, but that is like a slow regen up to a certain point. Right. So there's some like queuing that you do when you're healing that can possibly be overwhelmed by just like raw, very quick damage, like output, like bandwidth.
Yeah.
That has gotten around with the high value regeneration potions, which are health and HP restored instantly.
And typically what it meant for my character, who was a ranged character, was just after taking a health potion, go into defense mode for a couple seconds, play keep away.
Yes.
For a little bit. These potions, you stick them on your belt. Your belt's quality determines how many potions you can stock into this quick bar. Want to throw this out there. This game has an endurance system.
Yep.
You have a stamina that stops whether you can run. You want to be able to run. It is useful tactically, which is why there are potions for it.
Yeah.
I'm out of stamina. I can't do that. So I'm going to suck on one of these potions. A lot of times it just felt like I was being punished for not having stamina because you move so slowly in this without like stamina. And I relate, I don't move fast.
Yeah.
I'm a slow ground based unit. Like I don't, but it still also made it feel like I was traversing big empty distances.
Yeah.
I'd run out of stamina and it was just, do I want to use a relatively high value resource to not have this annoyance, or do I want to tank this thing that is just my time? It's not actually making me do the game worse.
Yeah. You also run into like shrines out in the world too.
Yes.
And one of the more common ones is wells. and those will restore all of your stamina. So like you might get lucky with some of that. What I found myself hoping for or wishing for from a quality of life perspective is if there's no enemy around or like within a certain distance, then the stamina shouldn't deplete.
Doesn't go down.
If I'm just trying sprinting because I hadn't unlocked the fast travel point in that particular biome, but. I can see like they didn't want to. There's probably something that would disrupt that I'm not foreseeing. I just found myself thinking, man, Elden Ring got this right.
Several games do that part better, and this I think the resurrected version. One of the changes is it does that when you're in town.
Yeah,
you can sprint around, but it never got there with outside of the map. Or outside of the town map.
Yeah.
In Act 2, you get a thing called the Herodric Cube. Huge Hellgate cube energy. And this enables a crafting system. You stick things in the Herodric cube to increase your inventory because inventory is limited, and to do a crafting system. This takes potions and gems. You can combine them to upgrade them through this. I did a little bit of it. Again, mostly kept things in it was extra inventory for the most part.
Yeah.
Because I didn't end up doing a lot of slot stuff. Like the equipment I found was generally pretty good.
Yeah.
That I had. So I mostly spent that. Because again, I spent a bunch of time gambling and eventually got I don't even remember the name of it. The name of it doesn't matter. It was just a collection of numbers that I thought were better than my old numbers.
Yes.
And they were pretty good.
Yeah. I like there are plenty of recipes for this, and the expansion added even more. It kind of seems like the kind of thing that like on day 2, people would just post the recipes. So if you're aiming for something, especially if you're doing like rune sentences and stuff like that, you just go and look it up, play around. Thankfully, experimentation doesn't mean that you lose the reagents.
Yes. Yeah. If you die, you respawn in the Act Hub without your gear. Your inventory items will remain, but you don't have your gear. You lose a little bit of money. However, you can bank some of your money. Yeah. And to get your gear back, you have to make a corpse run.
Yeah.
To go out to where your corpse died and recover it. It's really important not to quit your game when your corpse is still out.
Yeah.
You can lose everything. That's a big bummer. And this is, I understand what it's doing here, kind of. Like the idea is you had to outfit yourself with suboptimal equipment and do this kind of daring run back to where you were. Yeah. I never found this as dramatic as I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And part of it is just a function of, at least at the level I was playing it, this game not being very challenging.
Yeah.
Outside of boss fights. So.
Yeah. Also, in case anybody's listening and says like, oh, if you didn't find the game challenging, why didn't you bump it up? You can't.
During the game.
Yeah, you need to unlock it. Yeah.
It's worth noting that like, I think that normal has to mean something in game difficulties.
Yes.
It's a thing that gets frustrating to me whenever everyone's like, oh, well, you played on normal. The actual game is on hard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, the word, they named it. Like the word has a meaning. Like you can tell me that, but it's exactly contrary to what is in the product. It's in the text as a thing. I also wanted to play on normal because I hadn't played it in a long time.
Yeah.
I when I first played this, I was young. I was like, I remember how challenging this is. I want the default experience. Later Diablo games, to their credit, allow you to crank the difficulty as you go.
Yes.
That should be part of this. I understand it was a different time. And what they wanted you to do was just play through on normal because at the time playing, the runtime of this game was a breeze. And you just play it again because what else are you going to do? It's summer. You're at a LAN party. Like you're just going to do this over and over.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, I was like, no, normal sounds right. Yeah. It's me. I'm normal.
Despite the fact that the runtime on this was, breezy relative, because this was from an era when PC games could comfortably be like 45 hours and people would still call it a ripoff.
Yes.
This is huge. This is a very big game, both in terms of time, and also like the geography that it spans compared to the original game, to the first Diablo. That game had you exploring the floors of this huge labyrinth beneath a cathedral, eventually taking you down into hell. In this game, each of the acts takes place in a different land of Diablo II's version of Earth, and each of them is informed by a different culture.
Yes, it's real. Where in the world is Diablo San Diego.
Yeah.
The 5 chapters all have main quest and then side quest, and lots of places to kind of venture around. There are a lot of optional dungeons. These can be completed for loot. Again, the primary way you're going to power yourself up is seeking out bosses and elites.
Yes.
And killing them sometimes over and over. There is nothing to indicate whether something is optional, other than just like it's if you're not there for a quest, that is the main quest.
Yeah.
This plays weirdly with how much time you spend meandering, walking around, right? Like I wanted to find a dungeon and be like, oh, cool, I probably have to go here. I haven't been told to go here yet, but it's, the sepulcher of lost souls. Of course I need to go there. And I would go there and fight a guy. Nothing would happen. And then I would find out this was either just for loot or maybe it was part of another quest.
It was a quest
I'd read a book or something.
Yeah.
A quest I didn't have yet. You don't spend a lot of time stumbling upon the critical path of this.
But if you're trying to keep on the critical path, what you might not realize is some of those caves or tunnels you need to go through in order to get to the next biome where the thing you're looking for is going to be, or the biome where you go, and then that triggers the quest to get this. So if you're avoiding anything that is not a named dungeon that a quest you're on is telling you to go to, you might end up stuck. So like you're going to be going down into these dungeons because that is the game. To get as many pulls on the slot machine as you can. That itself is, it runs up against, well, I kind of went down there for nothing. I didn't get anything cool. And then also I didn't get the doodad that I needed to end the chapter.
Yeah. It plays interestingly with another thing that I think you could do something cool with, which is that in this game, once you're powerful enough, there's not a lot of reason to keep exploring. Compare with other role-playing games where like you want to explore because it's the content itself that you're trying to get to. In this game, if I have a good enough weapon and good enough level and everything to beat the boss, there's really no reason for me to do any side thing.
Yeah.
I don't need more. I could pull the slot machine more, but there's not going to be a monster that plays differently down there. There's not going to be meaningful equipment or story stuff in this random dungeon. That plays really badly with the fact that you can't just keep on the critical path willingly because of this tunnel system that it has, like not knowing what is the critical path in advance.
Yes. No. You get around with the Scrolls of Town portal. That helps you. There's also a fast travel system. You can activate these little platforms when you find them out in the world. What's important is like the world that you've discovered. It's not like it rolls up like a random one when you start an act or whatever. Every time you start the game, all of your progress in a particular area will be erased because it rolls up a completely new geometry for that. But you're still in like the same place, quote unquote.
Right. And this is, I don't know if it's canonically this. But the best argument for it, again, from that Noah Gervais video, is that this gives a sense of illogical or hostile space. It didn't for me.
That makes much more sense in the first one, I think.
Yeah. And also, like, I'm amicable to that.
Yeah.
Like, I like that a lot. I didn't get that feeling from this. So, the idea, you have a good example here in the notes of what this feels like.
Yeah. So like, your starting hub is always going to connect to a field called the Badlands. This will be connected by a tunnel to Bummer Valley. Bummer Valley happens to contain a cave called St. Grimdude's Folly. And there will also be a portal to the Wicked Festival.
Yes. And if you stop playing, the geometry will change, but the location identities and the monster palette will stay the same.
Like those zone connections will remain the same.
Yes. Each hub area lets you recruit hirelings for this that come around and help you up, kind of show up your weaknesses. They're dirt cheap. Again, money ends up being no object, so you may as well have people helping to make things go faster.
Yep.
This is a methadone version of how this game is probably best played multiplayer. That's the thing where I think we're probably going to get pushback on as well. Yeah. Similar to City of Heroes, even though we did team up in that game as well. Yeah. But this is probably best played with a friend you're playing it through. You have standing Friday night, we chat about our lives and do this kind of mindless thing. you know, which I didn't do. It's 2024. I don't have a Diablo 2 buddy.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So I hired an Amazon from the first town to shoot things with me.
To shoot things and then die at the first real challenging thing. And then I just
hire another copy of her. Yeah. Like it just, there's more. You're a dime a dozen NPCs.
You are completely disposable to me. There's a good amount of visual variety between the acts. But the enemies are generally going to act the same according to their classification. Kind of becomes small dudes versus big dudes versus casters versus like miscellaneous ghost kind of thing. And different, like, they have rankings between them. So like there's the basic version, which is like the minion kind. And then there are advanced ones that have particular properties on their own. So like, oh, this one can teleport. This one does poison damage. And then eventually those become resistances.
Yes. Including range characters as well, which end up being a thing that can create some mix-ups. Yeah. You know, when you talk about this game feeling, kind of unengaging to play, it's not that it's not engaging at all. There are times where we're like, oh, these guys are being covered by these skeleton archers. Yeah.
Part of this kind of like enemy palette kind of thing is like when we get into the play-by-play, like the first act I detailed pretty heavily because you're encountering like a kind of thing for the first time. Then when you get to later chapters, it's a reskin pretty much.
Yeah. At least at this level, maybe they get enough modifiers to make them interesting.
Yeah. So like we're going to spend a lot of time on the first act and then stuff is going to speed up.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Once we get through that also has to do with the story and narrative stuff, which we'll talk about in a bit. At the start, there's normal difficulty, being that unlocks Nightmare, which unlocks Hell. Nightmare and Hell both just seem like a maximum difficulty to me. The enemies get tougher numerically.
Yeah.
In terms of just like tankiness and how much damage they can do, and they start getting resistances and immunities, as you mentioned. We can only talk to that to a certain amount because we played a normal.
An option that you have at any of the difficulties is to make a hardcore character. This goes full roguelike, and you are subject to permadeath. If that character dies, then it's gone forever.
That would feel bad in this game. When I died, I did not feel like I got much lead up to it. When I died in this game, a lot of times it would be a real quick, rapid iteration of a lot of high damage things that happened to me in a boss I was not used to. Again, kind of suggesting that is for people who are familiar with the game. Yeah. You played it a bunch of times, so you know what this boss is going to do.
Yeah. And I'd see that as if you're into it, I can see that as a really good way to make things feel more consequential.
Yes. Yeah. Multiplayer is a big part of the game. There are class builds that are basically support classes that people can do. And a lot of it is cooperative. There is competitive play and PvP in this, but a lot of the times this is something you do with a friend or a couple of friends and just kind of clear the dungeons.
Yeah. Things kind of work into this ladder system for it. So like there are seasons where everything is reset periodically, every few months or so that players are forced to start again on an equal footing. That sounds... The idea of losing all that progress and then going to start again and just perpetually doing that makes me very weary.
It's because the loop isn't fun for you. Like so much of this goes down to like, if I was enjoying the thing I was doing, I would enjoy it a lot more. Like I like the idea that multiplayer gets reset because if a big barrier to multiplayer is like, oh, people have been dedicating their whole lives to this and I'm just starting, the idea of being able to start on the same footing as everyone is good. I just don't want to do it with this, and a lot of this comes down to that, like things that would be features or feel like cool innovations in a game I liked more at the base, but because I don't like the base, it kind of makes the dark side of some of those things or the downside shine brighter.
Yeah. Like any multiplayer game where it's been going for decades, many, many years, like there's a whole meta story about the culture and community and things like, for a while before it was patched, like a particular ring called the Stone of Jordan became a currency for trading items because actual gold was worthless, right?
Yes.
And this kind of worked into a real money economy cropping up where you could, use electronic money transfers to pay somebody for an actual powerful thing that they had. This also led to some real seediness, like Battle.net, and this was the case when I was playing this. If you did any online, the odds were very good that you would run into scam spam.
I love that this was in 2000 that you'd be doing these transfers. I'm like imagining gamers walking to Western Union.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like, it's very quaint.
No, it was the version of PayPal where Elon Musk was still bald.
Yeah. The bald pal. And this is something that gets, the series has a reputation for with later entries.
Yeah.
This is still relatively restrained in terms of that. Like, if you want to find gamers being mad about real world money stuff in Blizzard products, I have no idea where you'd go. That's one of the that's rarer than gold. You can look that up on YouTube and just get zero results, and YouTube never does zero results.
Yeah. Like very often these numbers are adjusted very slightly and nobody says that they're going to give up the game forever and go somewhere else.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with all this, we're joking. There's a lot of commentary about that.
See, the joke is the opposite of what we said is true.
Yeah, it's one of those jokes. It's like a lie, like most jokes. Aesthetically, I like this game a lot.
Yeah.
The graphics were really good for the time. There are these pre-rendered 3D sprites. I like how they look a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of things can move on screen. It does get a little muddy. I wish they did a little bit different with art direction in terms of colors, but any individual sprite is a beautiful little goblin.
Yeah.
I like all the monsters in this. I love the little dudes. That's great.
Yeah.
That's super good.
Boss design, demon design is on point.
Right? Yes, very much so.
Yeah. The remaster looks pretty good. It actually was a weird experience switching back and forth because the remaster kind of is running two things at the same time. The original pixel art and then this kind of real-time 3D polygonal stuff going on over top of that. The new art is fine. To me, it conveys what the designs were trying to convey.
Yes.
Looks great. Also, it's a high enough resolution that you're not, overlooking things. But you can switch and see just how chunkety everything was. And boy, in my memory, it does not look anything like that.
No. I like playing in chunkety mode just because I feel like it gets the charm across of the little goblin creatures. Like it also feels nostalgic.
Yeah.
People love the cutscenes. In this game, they did all new cutscenes for the resurrected version. The old cutscenes were no slouch.
Yeah. They were re-renders of the cutscenes for this. Like, this has been a Blizzard selling point for a long time.
Yes. We'll talk about that when we start talking about the story and stuff. I find the music in this game impeccable.
Yep.
I think that it's really good. It's iconic. Utilizing instruments that you don't hear a lot in games. Like, there's a lot of guitar in it, which I think sounds really cool.
Yeah.
It is repetitive. You hear the same musical themes a lot because you're in the act, and that's the act's musical theme for this. That's the town's theme. But all the songs are bangers. IMO.
Yeah.
And huge nostalgic feelings. Getting those songs like, oh yeah.
Yeah, just those really loose chords that are played in the rogue camp theme.
Yes.
Like, I hear those and I'm just like, oh, that's transportative. Like,
very transportative. Good stuff. And also really good sound effects. We talked about that Pavlovian, like, you hear this sound, it means an amulet dropped. Your brain wires to make that good. Those sounds are all distinct and well done. Like, crisp and satisfying.
Yeah. I need to find an isolated the potion drop sound because that would make a good text tone.
That would make a good text tone.
Yeah.
Getting into the story part of the aesthetics, and this kind of relates to those cutscenes, this doesn't work for me.
No.
It is a little, I remembered nothing about this. So even when I was younger and played this, I was not getting very invested in the story of this. There are people who are. Like, it's not impossible to be. Like, there are people who play this for the story. This feels like a lot of Blizzard things to me, where it just feels like a noun fight.
Yeah.
And a lot of kind of placeholder things, like even Diablo being the big demon. This is a Spanish word for devil. That's not a cool demon name. Like things like that sound kind of cool, but it's, I don't know, it rolls off my head.
Yeah, the primevals and the spirit stone must be avoided by going to the tower of blah blah blah. Like, you're expected to care about something because of the magic that a proper noun imbues to it.
Yes.
And there is like kind of no greater significance behind an awful lot of it, other than it is playing in this gothic, semi-religious kind of space.
Yes. Eventually, this turns into an angels versus demons kind of thing, like well-worn territory that maybe felt fresher at a different time, as a thing. It's also, I think this is too wordy. The characters who will talk to you in camp will just say huge paragraphs to you with very little chance to interact or change the subject. And they have voices to them, but it'd be hard for me to say, this character, I couldn't pick a text, like a paragraph of text, and tell you who it was from.
Yeah.
The characterization is not so good, and it is real bloated.
Yeah. Just a lot of kind of rote exposition. And at the end of it, it's like, oh, go kill a bunch of things and then something new will happen. All right, cool. That's a lot of video games, right? Here it feels less disguised, but they go through a lot of ink in order to get to that point.
Yeah, it feels very Blizzard House style to me.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Warcraft Story. I feel the same way about StarCraft Story to a degree. There are individual things in these. The twist at the end of Diablo 1, what happens with Kerrigan in StarCraft, basically the same thing with Arthric or whatever his name is in Warcraft. They're neat little affecting things, but everything around it is it's a little bit like having lidocaine rubbed all over me.
the lidocaine shower. There's a joy to it for me in StarCraft and Warcraft because of how the stories are told.
Yeah.
The storytelling is faster and not all text.
Yeah.
Or mostly text. There are voiced characters in this as well. The other thing that those games, I also tend to not, I do just want to kind of know the wireframe.
Yeah.
In a Warcraft 3 cutscene, I'm like, oh, this elf has betrayed this person by summoning this demon. That's all I really need to know. And then I just move on.
Yeah.
Welcome to be put in the minority for this, because I think people do get really invested in this stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Someday, if on a long enough timeline, I would love to do the other StarCraft 2s.
Sure.
Yeah. The final one, the Protoss campaign, is one of the most ridiculous, shitty melodrama things that I have played. It's ludicrous.
Yeah.
For this stuff. It does not have any spark of coolness to it. Yeah. Blizzard.
Yeah. It's Blizzard thing. It's not that memorable to me. So.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's talk about the development. Good.
Yeah. So the creators of Diablo, David Brevik and Max and Eric Schaefer, met while working at a clip art company. Together they formed a new company called Condor and worked on ports before deciding to make their own game.
Yes. I love the idea that there was just a whole company that sold CDs full of JPEGs. Amazing.
They did. I love it. You can find them still. In a thrift store, I'll be like, oh, this thing contains a lot of JPEGs. There are very many JPEGs in this box. Yeah.
They wanted to make a game that was inspired by D&D, and also by roguelikes. They were specifically fans of 1993's Angband, kind of a bootleg Lord of the Rings style thing where you were going through a 100-floor dungeon randomly generated. And because they like these games, they saw kind of this hole in the market to make games with that kind of structure much more accessible. They wanted to reduce the barriers of entry and then kind of give them a visual update, make things a little bit more flashy, a little bit more spectacular, kind of with this console-like flair.
Yeah. They named Diablo after Mount Diablo in the San Francisco Bay Area. Here, and the original plan was to render this in claymation style. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah.
Literal little tiny claymation sprites would have been real weird at this scale. publishers rejected the game because RPGs were kind of down in the market at the time. Silicon and Synapse, the company that eventually became Blizzard, offered to publish it if Condor made the game real time instead of turn-based and added multiplayer. This was a huge point of contention.
Yes.
Among them. There are interviews and stuff where they talk about this. They had to be very convinced of this, that it would work. They worried, ironically, they worried it would drain the tension. If you've never played a traditional roguelike or a rogue-esque game like an Engban, they're very tense, even though they're turn-based. We've only covered one for the show. We did Chocobo's Dungeon.
Yeah.
For this, but they can be very tense largely because they're very challenging and your move economy is everything. Like you can't afford to waste moves.
No.
They kind of switched it to a thing where you can afford a lot of wasted moves.
Yes. And a lot of it is extraneous movement.
Yes. And you have a huge budget is how they change that. So I end up feeling this is much less tense. Again, maybe on higher difficulties, it feels more so.
Yeah. It brings a twitch element to the gameplay that is an undeniably part of its appeal, I think. That's a huge divergence point. It's like, what happens if Diablo is turn-based? If this persuasion check fails or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
What is different? Just specifically because of how influential this game was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or little counterfactuals. So there was some corporate maneuvering, like Blizzard is this company that keeps being acquired and changed. And Condor got brought in to the company that would come to be named Blizzard. They wanted to remain separate and have their own autonomy, so they called themselves Blizzard North. And the main Blizzard would help them complete the multiplayer code and incorporate things into the Battle.net online platform. Because that was a relatively new idea at the time, having this built-in server browser and matchmaking system in order to play these things.
Yeah. Diablo 1 is a huge success, launched in January 1997. The sequel was almost immediately announced. The planned release date for this was early 1998. I love how short development times used to be, or at least optimistically.
Yeah.
Even though there was no design work that had been done.
Yes.
Yeah.
So David Brevik, the gameplay lead, he wanted to make the sequel more expansive and wanted to differentiate the classes a little bit more. And for that, he brought in this idea of skill trees from strategy games like Civilization and Master of Orion.
Yes, and successfully did so. In Diablo 1, it was closer to a classless, it's not quite classless, but closer to a classless system where your class determines your starting stats, but everyone can cast spells.
Yes.
In Diablo 1. It's not just moves that are assigned to certain characters.
Yeah. And that's a little bit a product of the game. They didn't intend for it to be multiplayer.
Yes.
Just from the ground up. So this one being made from the beginning as multiplayer, you could envision this idea where class differentiation would make things better.
Like where you'd be crafting a team.
Yes.
As a thing. The game's haphazard development caused a 2-year delay, with the main game releasing in 2000 and the expansion pack, Lord of Destruction, launching in 2001. It's called an expansion pack. It is the 5th chapter of the game.
Yeah.
It completes the story. It's basically necessary.
Yes. Yeah. And Diablo 2, all put together, is one of the most successful and influential PC games of all time.
Yes.
And that it was helped in no small part by Blizzard continuing with multiplayer support. This had legs long after many other games would have, dropped off.
We talked earlier about finding a battle chest. A battle chest is this game and its expansion, all packaged together. Those were on sale at retail until shockingly late.
We had them in GameStops, that I worked at up through, I think when I graduated college in 2010, they were still there.
Yeah.
It was just $20, you get Diablo 1, 2 in the expansion pack and a couple of little feelies. And that was, there next to the Warcraft battle chest and the StarCraft battle chest.
Kind of legendary products.
Yeah.
The StarCraft and Warcraft ones, because the version I played of Diablo, I didn't have it in a battle chest. It was pre-battle chest. The version of Warcraft and StarCraft I played came in the battle chest where you get a guide for each one. It came with a strategy guide, very fond memories.
Yeah.
Of that. I like Battle Chest. I think it's cool. Yeah. And to Blizzard's credit, this is something they're really good at, maintaining support for their classic titles.
Oh yeah,
like this. Yeah. This is a reason why they're so well beloved. A second expansion was planned that would make the game into more of an MMO. This was canceled. Most of the staff left in 2003.
Yes.
Yeah. Blizzard North itself closed in 2005 because progress on Diablo 3 didn't please their new owner, Vivendi. The team members who didn't leave were folded into the World of Warcraft money printing machine. For that.
And others left, like David Brevik left, made his own studio. Hellgate London, I think, was the game they made right after this, which was very Diablo-y, kind of expanding on some ideas that he had.
There are Diablo devs on the Torchlight team as well.
Yeah.
I believe. I can't remember who exactly, but.
Yeah. But Blizzard continued on. Diablo 3 rather, came out in 2012 to some controversy because they added the real money auction house and there was an art style change.
If only a YouTuber would talk about it. Like we know the full story, but nobody wants to touch that.
No. And the Diablo 4 came out in 2023. And people like it a lot. There was a new expansion that came out that seems kind of cool, kind of more horror themed. Yeah.
Diablo 4 sounds like it answers many of my problems with this game and specifically Diablo 3. I hated Diablo 3 and I played it after the real money shit.
Yeah.
I just think it's a clicker. I don't think there's very much more to it than that. I allow in my heart the idea that Diablo 4 is better. Next time I'm in the mood for something like this, I might give it a try.
Yeah. I've never played it, so I don't know. The thing that has stopped me from taking a plunge just to see what the hell is the fact that it's not on Steam. Like I don't want to I don't want to launch. I don't want to type my password into Battle.net.
Remember my password. Yeah. One of the things in 4 is like you actually have to defend yourself. Like there's a dodge roll. You have a defensive verb set, which is not really the case here. So that's interesting.
Yeah, well, fuck me. Diablo 4 is on Steam. Well,
there you go. I'm not going to dive into it because I have no time. I'm curious, but in a very abstract way, it's someday. It's in the someday pile with like Spiderweb Software games.
I'm not in a hurry.
Diablo 2 Resurrected, the remaster that we played, was announced in 2021. This was in spite of the fact that much of the original code had been lost. A funny old thing that used to happen in big games too, not just small games. And the goal was to modernize the presentation without altering the core gameplay very much.
There are some concessions kind of made after development toward that fact. But I feel like having played both the original and this one, just play this one. Seems like a good way to go. I didn't expect the Diablo 2 remaster to be especially good because Blizzard kind of fucks this up. The StarCraft remaster that they did is apparently pretty bad, and the Warcraft ones, Warcraft 3 especially, was really bad because it was sold as a replacement to Warcraft 3, like the Legacy one. And the Warcraft 2 one, they're doing like AI upscaling to make it look like a mobile game. It looks really bad.
It's real unfortunate that they're doing that. Like as somebody who has a lot of affection for Warcraft 2, I don't want that.
No.
And pitching it as a replacement is always a mistake. Everyone hates that.
Yeah.
I don't think devs are listening to this, especially not the people who make these decisions, the business people, but like never just replace it with a new thing.
Yep.
Everyone wants to have the old one available. Like this will make you enemies for life. And we're gamers and we don't fuck around with our enemies. We spend our entire time grinding to win. Yeah. So like you do not want to fuck with us.
No, we make your food. We watch you sleep.
Rise down, Gamer Nation.
And this discourse around like the Silent Hill 2 remake and stuff like that. Honestly, all things being equal, just include the original with the thing when you sell it, for fuck's sake.
You at least don't go out of your way to wipe it from the earth.
Yes.
You at least do no harm. Like give it to the fans to keep up.
Yes.
Resurrected had a troubled launch. Specifically, the servers strained under what the development team called modern player behavior. Slurs.
Undefined.
I don't think it was slurs. I'm joking. But now it runs fine.
Yes.
It's I had no problems with it in terms of an experience. It's pretty smooth. In terms of that part of it. That's about all the generalities. More stuff will, of course, bubble up in the second half, but now we're going to start recounting the plot. So all you Marius heads out there, buckle up. If you're hearing this, it is because you are on the general feed. We thank you for listening. If you want to hear the rest, go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.
Please do. You get the full version of this episode and the full version of every premium episode we have done since the beginning of 2019. We're coming up on like 5 years, 6 years of this.
6 years.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Quite a few, in addition to a bunch of other shows.
Yes.
There's tons of material there for you.
Go and follow the Duckfeed Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/Duckfeed.tv to get notifications when we go live, especially around Duckstream. Again, that is December the 6th through the 8th. Which raising money for a good cause, supporting trans kids. And if you can't chip in, please watch and spread the word and all of that.
Yeah, we'd appreciate it. Yeah, we'll see you next week with the dispatch. We're announcing January. Fuck.
Yeah, we
gotta get that in
out.
order. Yeah. We have a bunch of things that are sponsored, but we have to actually figure it out.
Yeah.
Announcing January and answering your questions, all that stuff. We'll see you then.